everyone, welcome back to the Fireside stream. That was the wrong intro. I was supposed to use the British accent. I completely forgot to do that. Oh well, I screwed it up. I'm all mishmash. I've had several streams this week. Or several streams in the last... my brain is not working right. So, how's everyone doing? I'm your host, Raymond McNeil, and with me, as always, is the wonderful Mollie Rhymemaster, who is currently in the middle of her scenic kitchen.
Happy fried dough, everyone. I have to bake. And might as well knock out two things at once.
Yeah. We'll wait for people...
It's also Frog Day. It's always Frog Day.
We'll wait for people to trickle in here. We only have 9 people currently. You want to know why? It's because Dashy's about to stream too. That was the big thing that they wanted to do. So we're gonna have
Should I stuff balloons into my shirt? Maybe we'd get some more viewers out.
No.
When you start VTubing with tiny wives, but like she'll have gigantic titties.
Going to cancel your first membership for 2 months? No, I watch Ruby through other strictly legal means.
Very legal.
Very legal. Wow.
Do you not arrange with Dashy that when you guys are streaming?
Oh no, it's just that this is sort of a regular stream that me and you do, and I wanted to keep up the regularity of it. Dashy's is much more seasonal.
I know, so why didn't you guys discuss that?
Oh, we did. It's just times didn't line up properly. She would have done it later, but I'm not available later, so it's sort of, 2 of one, 4 of the other. That's not the expression. I completely butchered that. All the same, wow, we only 10 viewers. Wow, I didn't realize that. Well, let's see. I can check on my phone. Proudly sponsored by Kick-Ass Anime. No. I would never use a disreputable source like Kick-Ass Anime. Yeah, unless they actually reached out and no. Let's see. Gotta go make sure everything's on the up and up. Yeah, they're starting around 5, so we should still have more people here. Where is everyone?
They decided that they finally don't like us. It's been a good run, Raymond.
I mean, I'm surprised it took them so long.
Yeah, I know. I'm not a very likable person.
No, I mean, mostly because of me. I have the annoying voice. Yeah, no, yeah, we'll give it a little more time before we start getting into things. So instead of Tiny Weiss, it'd be Opie Weiss.
What's Opie?
It's a Japanese word for boobies. That's why I'm pretty sure that's the Oh, is usually considered a children's word for a mother's breast or breastfeeding, in addition to its manga anime slang sense.
Oh, okay.
So it's almost exclusively used as slang in English. So, yeah, it's weird. I've never actually looked up the explicit definition of that word. I just know what it means from all the different references being used. So it's one of those. That's kind of where I get most of my skill from. Is just things that I don't know the technical history or definition or work of. But I'm actually going to turn you down a little bit to make sure that your cooking sounds don't override things.
Yeah, sorry.
It's all good.
That's just how it's going to have to be today.
You're making bread, is that correct?
I'm making challah. Just got done braiding it. I just need to find a sheet to put it on, and I'm done. Sorry.
I was going to ask, did someone just die? Sky Zero says you seem very needy.
I am.
But yeah, can you repeat what kind of bread you were making? They couldn't hear it, I don't think.
Challah.
Challah bread. Or just challah, I guess. I don't know if it's...
Yeah.
So,
This is
challah
why
at her.
I do what I must do.
Stream, how is the sound? I'm making sure that I'm trying to find a balance of her not being completely unhearable, but also not trying to sound like a kitchen.
Yeah, it's just for that second, and then I'm gonna put this to prove for another like 45 minutes. So.
It's challah. Describe what challah
Challah.
is. This is gonna be a cooking stream now.
It is a braided egg bread. This is a baking stream now.
Even as dough, it looks great.
Yeah, it is.
So, let's jump into this. So we have, on our last stream, we challenged you, our viewers, to redraft your previous works so that we could see any kind of improvements you guys have made over the last few weeks of our critiquing. And this will tell us if we're any good at what we're doing right now. All of us, everyone involved.
All right, let's do it. Pressure is on.
Yes. Oh, it's technically it's challah, but it's pronounced challah. Is that right?
Challah. Yeah.
Challah.
Yeah, you want to get that. You want to get that
Phlegm.
good ch.
The
Yeah, you need to get that sound.
Ahmed, how do you pronounce that? What? A C phlegm.
Damn, are we really quoting Ahmed the Dead Terrorist?
Yes, I unironically love Jeff Dunham. He's been run into the ground, but like, God, his first 3 specials were superb. I've seen him live twice. He's great. Okay, so the first person we have up is Mupa, is our good friend Mupa, who. Now the thing is, I did not ask for which things people were rewriting, so that's going to be
anything.
It could just be anything. It's mostly we're just trying to figure out how good you guys have become. So, hey, no Shala back, girl. Oh, yeah. God. Plot twist.
All right. We should be good for now.
Okay. Plot twist. We're refracting our cooking skills. Submit your pieces to the judge. All right, so here we go. The stars shimmered. The twin moons, nocturnal suns. Noel shivered under the thin blanket, sitting outside the adobe hovel. Irregular snoring drifted out of the small window. A scorpion swam along the flat bottom nearby, creating ripples. The flat bottom? Is that like a reference to a creek, I guess? That may be missing a word there, Mupa. Noah licked her chapped lips before splitting them again with a yawn. When she blinked, the shadows among the blue sand transformed into her mom. "Don't you get bored of haunting your daughter?" Noel mumbled. "You think you're clever, don't you?" She grinned and winced a little. "Didn't even have to cast any magic. How'd you like them apples?" "You might hope the truck doesn't break down while your savior drives you back to civilization." She nodded to the rusted heap, the hover pads in the bottom blackened with age. She pulled her blanket tighter around herself. "You know, I kind of thought you'd go away once I was around people again. Is my brain really so desperate to hear my mother lecture me?" "Is that how you remember me?" "It's the most prominent version of you I have. You were always getting on my case for something, like when I went biking with my friends in that bad neighborhood without telling you, or when I was like 5 and tried to make a potion out of random stuff. You could have killed yourself, practicing magic unsupervised at that age." "I nearly killed myself practicing magic while supervised," she chuckled. Somehow, I'm always thinking of you when I'm close to death, like when that spell exploded and took half my body. Maybe this is how my brain learned to try and warn me from doing stupid crap in the future. Not that it helps." A mist of sand was disturbed, passing through the figure. "Hey, were you ever like me? Did you think about your parents before you died?" She rested against the flaking wall. The grid of city lights was visible on the nearer moon. It must have been pretty heavy, growing up under the shadow of their memorial statues. Maybe that's why you left Kanoan and came to live in a small town. You think for all my fame and success in magic, academia, in my last moments, I was petty enough to wonder what they thought of me. Noelle frowned. Brain Mom, I'm not looking to be lectured right now. You're supposed to agree with me, you know. Her mouth pursed. I suppose it's not outside of reason that my mind could drift to them in my final moments. The mirage of her vanished, and her voice was right in Noelle's ear. But I have to be dying first now, wouldn't I? Noelle scrambled away, pale sediment clouding in the turbulence. The shadows were empty, the wind whistling, and the sky burned orange. The inhabitants of the hovel found her still curled up under a blanket, eyes wide and watching. That was solid.
Mupa, I feel, is one of those types of writers where, like, you give her, like, a little push the right direction, she just runs with it.
My only issue is at the very beginning, kind of, there's that weird moment where it's like flat bottomed. What? Like, was it a creek? I don't know if that was like something I'm missing here.
But compared to this last submission, it's definitely a lot like tighter and more meaningful. Like I said, Mupa's always been like 1 or 2 steps away from writing something really solid. So it's really good to see her take that advice and then apply it properly.
Yeah. Now, the other thing I have is like I could kind of push you on a little bit is just saying transformed into her mom. Now, if this is part of a longer story, that makes sense. Like, I could easily see this being like, you know, a mid-chapter where it's like it's pretty established that her mom appears to her in these visions, and you know she's had these similar conversations. But if this is like the first time, or if it's like the first time in the story this is happening, maybe be a little more descriptive instead and be like, oh, it takes on this familiar face, something like that kind of thing. But it's not a big critique. This is a nitpick of anything. Just you could be a little more in that moment. You can be a little more esoteric, and it makes it a little bit stronger because it gives a better impression of what the character is thinking.
If anybody's wondering, I am eating raw dough, and no, you do not get to judge me for it.
I mean, I'm jealous. What is Opie Weiss? Is her doing something with glyphs to her flat chest? But yeah, Mupa, this was a great read. Good work. Oh, hello, Mr. Oates. How's it going? Yeah, so this was a nice, quick, and easy read. You know, very, very entertaining. And I'm
exactly what we look for on this stream.
Now, the next one, I believe, is the... Let me get the name for this one. Did I not... I didn't pin the name. Who was it that sent me this? Because I had to create the... Oh no, I'm showing off the wrong things. I think it's Apocalyptic Chaos that wrote this. I did not mean to minimize that. Oops. There we go. And to maximize this. I believe this is Apocalyptic Chaos that wrote this. So let's see. Chapter 1, Rough in the Diamonds. It's 3 pages. Do you have it open, or how are you doing this? Are you actually reading along with us, or like?
I'm reading along with you.
I don't see you on the. Oh, there you are. You appeared.
Yeah.
Anonymous Tiger.
I just need a second to get it open. I'm good.
Okay, here we go.
It is a 1 dough full day.
How many dough puns are you going to make before the end of this stream?
I don't know.
You don't know?
I know. It's a 1-syllable word. It's easy enough. Also, there's a cup that has egg wash in it right next to me, like egg for egg wash, and it looks way too much like orange juice. So I'm just gonna not look at
it. You could like put it somewhere else. Like, no, I don't want the sickly orange juice. Okay, here we go. Storm clouds rumbled in the skies above, their rough winds battering the shoddy building of the slums. The creaks of the worn wood... the creaks... It should be creaks, it's not apostrophe. Well, I guess it... No, it's not apostrophe.
No,
it's
it's
not
no
possessive.
apostrophe. It's
Yeah.
the creaks of the wormwood, you know?
Yeah. Also, this is in like suggestion mode, not edit mode, so I'm not going to do that. Well, I guess nah, I'm not going to do that. Creaks of the wormwood echoed down tightly tightly packed alleys. Okay, alleys is Allies. Is that correct?
That's allies.
That's
Alleys.
Is alleys?
Alleys like a thin street. I believe is Alleys.
Okay, yeah.
It's one of those weird exception words.
Yeah, so it's not apostrophe s. That's what we're getting at. That's right, anime guy. We'll have to pull up your the doc. Could you actually do that for me, Molly? Scroll through the Discord and get the copy and paste his Word doc, anime AKs. I don't remember where I put that last. We'll just have it at the ready for the next. The storm winds howled through the ramshackle corridors of the mining city's underbelly. Underbelly markets. Okay, Apocalyptic Chaos, you have a real problem with plurals and possessives with the S's, because you just put cities as plural, but I think you meant possessive. The storm winds howled through the ramshackle corridors of the mining city's underbelly markets. So that's maybe something you want to sit down and kind of focus on a little bit, is when to be plural, when to be possessive, and the different variations therein. Aaron rhythmically tapped his finger on a rundown meat pie vendor stall as he waited for his order. The savory and spicy aroma of the food overwhelmed the stank that came with the undermarket. Now, here's a piece of advice that I can give for flow. The meat pie vendor stall the full 4-word conglomeration there feels kind of like word salad in the middle of a sentence that's flowing all right. So what I would recommend is just cutting it down to a vendor stall and establishing later that it's selling meat pies. I think that would just make it flow a little bit quicker. So instead of Aaron rhythmically tapped his finger on a rundown meat pie vendor stall, changes to Aaron rhythmically tapped his finger on a rundown vendor stall as he waited for his order.
Yeah, it's one of those things. A big part of conciseness with writing is like, how much do we actually need to know here? No pun intended. Like, how much do we need to know about the scene to really get the idea?
How much do we need to know?
I don't really care that it's a meat pie vendor.
How much do we need to dough?
How much do we need to dough?
Please continue, sorry. Well, I guess I could continue. That's right. It was a small thing that gave Aaron just a bit of comfort, a feeling that was becoming harder to come by nowadays. The shopkeep sauntered up to the table and roughly plopped the sack onto the table. Repeating words. I mean, if it's different, if it's just a normal table that he's just walking up to, the shopkeep sauntered up to the table, and dropped down a sack or something like that. Like you don't need to reiterate that there is a table that is a surface that you're utilizing. You can have it implied the fact that he's utilizing the table. If it's like a bar of some sort, like a counter, the shopkeep sauntered up to the counter and roughly plopped the sack onto the table, or onto the surface, or onto the platform. There's any different ways you can take it, but reiterating table twice in the same sentence is just kind of redundant.
Or just reword it so you don't have to use another noun like that.
That's what I'm saying.
You walked up to the table and threw the object on it.
That'll be 50 silvers for the firecrackers and 30 for the remote trigger kid. The shopkeep slid a small button, and the sack packed with 5 tightly wrapped cylinders with circular gems embedded in the top. Slid? That's an incomplete sentence, I think. Because it doesn't give like an end point to where it slid, I guess. Like, the shopkeeper slid a small button and the sack packed with 5 tightly wrapped cylinders.
Yeah, it should be the shopkeeper slid the purchase across the table. or across the what's the counter?
Yeah. So, and also it should be a period at the end of that dialogue with a capital T. This is not an action that bespokes of the dialogue itself. It's an action either in tandem with or following the dialogue. So, if it's not describing the dialogue itself, you typically don't do the comma.
Well, and someone says, I really don't like this girl. The reason I don't like watching these, me? I mean, like I said, I'm not exactly like the biggest personality, but like, give me a chance, man.
Oh, Moopa, you're late. I'm sorry. We already did yours. Yeah. I'm sorry. We already missed yours. It was good. It was good. It was
really
wonderful.
Good stuff.
We have very minor critiques or nitpicks, if anything. But overall, it was very good. Very good work. So that'll be 50 silvers for the firecrackers and 30 for the remote trigger kid. The shopkeep, the shopkeep slid the purchase across the table, and then what you would want to do there is you have a colon, and then you go into describing what is in the purchase.
Yeah, the shopkeep slid a small purchase across the table. Colon, 5 tightly wrapped cylinders, comma, circular gems embedded on top, or something like that.
Oh, it's like a slid.
See, a lot of this is just making it like making things readable is a big part of this.
Mm-hmm. So,
like it's a big thing. It's have you ever had a really bad teacher or professor because they like just the way they talk or the way they write presentations just doesn't like stick in your head. It's the same thing with creative writing. You have to do things that don't like feel weird in the brain.
Yeah, it's you have to read it out loud to yourself and just that is really the biggest crux is you read everything out loud to yourself, even mumbling under your breath, just being like, "The shop keeps a small one." If you just do that to yourself, your brain automatically starts being like, oh wait, something's not right here. Especially like what you're looking for is anything that you say that is not either not on the page or is different than on the page. That's what you're looking for when you do that. When you mumble to yourself, when you say it out loud to yourself, you're looking for that dissonance, because it's in that dissonance you'll find, all right, this sentence isn't really worded right. I need to reword it.
Yeah, it really is a matter of what kind of sounds natural to the brain and what doesn't. Also, loving the dough puns in chat. Molly is adorable. See, I can pun too. Tiny Weiss is best girl. Dough Molly is pretty close. That was a bit of a stretch. Really had to roll that one out.
Stop doing this to me.
Stop doing this to me.
Just
you guys are the best.
Floof, I have food pun, and Brady, insert dough pun. That'll be 50 silver for the firecrackers and 30 for the remote trigger kid. Oh, sorry, we've repeated that enough. Sorry, I meant to go on to the next one. Aaron dropped the silvers onto the shop table. Period. There you go. We still have the same deal, right? Yeah. You were never here, and if you were here, you only bought some meat pies and left. Not a deal that's going to change if you keep your mouth shut about us too. Period. Oh no, it's actually not period. This is right. This is correct. Comma. The shopkeep grumbled. Comma. Pulling a cigar out of his pocket. So yeah, there's a few tweaks you want to make here, but so far, I'll say this. So far, I'm intrigued. You've actually done a very good job of intriguing me about where this is going, which is actually going back to our whole first chapter discussion about hooking the reader. This guy's buying firecrackers and detonators at a freaking meat pie vendor? All right.
That's my type of meat pie vendor.
Yeah, you can really say they pack they're spicy meat pies. Pack a punch. Let's see. I'll see you next time I need something from you then, peddler. Aaron, Aaron tucked the bag. You want it to be a period. Peddler, period. Aaron tucked the bag of goods into his cloak and started to walk down the steam-laden alley. What do you plan on doing with those sparks anyway? I thought you brokers didn't ask questions. Aran's brow furrowed. The shopkeeper let out a deep breath and struck a match to light a cigar. Period. I see enough young people like you go out and do stupid shit, only to end up under an MP's fresh-licked boot the next week. Forgive me if I don't want to keep reading the same news every week. It might be better to say, like, the next day, for that, under an MP's fresh-licked boot the next day, and, like, then you say week, and it kind of just, it helps reinforce without repetition that this happens frequently.
Oh, these pies? They're bomb flavored. I can't bake this anymore. Commit Sudoku. Chad is just having it today.
Oh, God. Retitled the stream Redo.
Yeah, we should.
In fact, I'm going to do that now.
Yeah, there we go. Now we got oven noises happening.
All right, there we go. Should update soon enough. Aaron let out an exasperated huff. If you were so period. If you were so tired of the same news, then you wouldn't have been selling have been selling to us young people in the first place. You don't need that. You don't need that past tense, I don't think, in that sentence. I mean, it could just be how he talks, but it could just be like, then you wouldn't be selling to us young people in the first place. Save your half-assed concern for someone who's still green. I mean, I'm liking the dialogue so far. This is pretty good. Aaron turned to continue walking down the alley, leaving the undermarket. The meat shop was an older group of small-time brokers that Aaron had just started to deal with after his previous dealers got busted in a military raid. Why is someone printing when they know I'm streaming?
I hear it. There we go.
A minute. Let me just give someone a nice little nudge in the back.
It could be worse. Remember when there was traffic outside my window?
Well, I was actually kind of worried because we're having major renovations on the deck outside. So, like, that I was worried that sound would carry, but that's in the backyard, so it's like...
One day we'll have a real studio, and somehow we'll use it at the same time in New York and Ohio.
Yes. I mean, if you get your job where you want, you'll be further south, so you can line up better.
That's true.
Let's see. Aaron again, walking down the alley. Let's see. The meat shop... Stop printing!
It's okay. Chad's having a good enough time.
That's very rude, and that's just facts.
Facts, bitch. Dial-up noises.
All right, so here.
There was a great, like, you know those things where it's like so-and-so as vines?
Vaguely.
You know those videos? There was one where it's like Kingdom Hearts as vines, and like Data Sora was facts, dial-up noises. Facts, bitch. More dial-up noises.
Oh my god! Literally, okay, we can't have asides anymore because every time I try to actually say something... Jesus Christ, I am so furious right now. The meat shop was an older group of small-time brokers that Iran had just started to deal with after his previous dealers... Okay, you want a comma there? After had just started to deal with? Like, you wanted... Comma. After his previous dealers got busted in a military raid. 1 year into being a vigilante wasn't enough to get him clout, even at the bottom even at the bottom rung of the ladder. Resources, respect, and renown, semicolon, which is, yeah, I think this works. He would have to take out bigger targets and then some civvies, causing troubles for the less fortunate.
I think it's worth talking about like why these commas and these punctuations are so important relative to
you keep telling that 1 minute. Before. I'm going to do something.
Yeah, okay, my stream now. So what makes it so important is because it goes back to like being readable. This punctuation, when you read it, your mind just kind of automatically starts spacing things out. You see a comma and it's like a breath, and then you read the rest of the sentence. When you don't have the comma, your brain has a tougher time breaking up these sentences and breaking up ideas, and it makes it like a less enjoyable read, and that's why it's so crucial.
Yep. What Mollie said. I only caught half of it. I was yelling at someone. Okay. Don't you dare. Okay, good. Me and the printer have come to an understanding. Who's this? Is that... Okay, I don't know who that is.
That's probably the actual person. That's probably his real name.
How? Because I'm the one that made this document. He wrote it and he sent it to me as a doc file, and then I put it into my drive, and that's what we're working on now.
Let's not worry about it.
Who are you and why are you on my Google Drives? Okay. Yeah, where were we? Resources, respect, renown. Okay. Aaron climbed up a ladder that extended from the top of the building. Once he reached the top, he caught view of the cityscape. The time just before the mine workers got off was always quietest, perfect for the noises to echo across the city. In the distance, near the edge of the city, Aaron spotted his target, a set of large storage houses surrounded by tall fences separating them from the city. Now let's see if I can't start a little bit of trouble for them. Period. Aaron looked out from the top of the building. A dark curtain of clouds began to coat the skies, and a streak of lightning crackled within their depths. Aaron had to be quick. Getting caught in a hellstorm while escaping wouldn't be good. Aaron quickly leapt from rooftop.
You could just get rid of that sentence because we kind of know that he has to be like. We know something bad is happening, especially because you use quickly the very next sentence.
Yeah, I think you could refine it down
you don't
to being
have to
like
spell everything out to the readers.
Instead, I would actually say like you could cut that down to just being like having be a character reaction, like a hellstorm. Great. Like just like a bit of like sarcasm, a little bite to it. If you do that, it might be it'll convey the information that this is more than just a normal storm. It's a hellstorm, without being undiegetic, and it wouldn't disrupt the flow. It wouldn't be superfluous necessarily. Okay. Ray is getting hacked under arrest for so many dough puns. I'm not the one making dough puns. That's you guys. You're under arrest.
You are all under arrest.
Okay.
That's a big ass call. Okay.
We're only going to go to the end of this paragraph, I think. Aaron quickly leapt from the roof of the building onto another, speedily making his way towards the fenced-off set of warehouses. As Aaron darted from the rooftop to rooftop, he snugly placed a vibrantly colored mask on his face. All right. So my impressions from the first few words of this, it's very solid in concept, and a lot of it works. You need to really what?
I think the crucial thing is just kind of the human element of it, where instead of describing it, really kind of make it more about this character that you have it centered on.
I mean, even just the describing it worked fine for me. I was still intrigued by the situation. It was a little
I know, but to
drier
make
without
it
it.
from good to great.
Yeah.
is what you need.
Um,
Yeah, there's this concept that I was discussing with Raymond that I actually want to go over, which is the concept of immediacy. And it's the reason why some Ruby scenes actually feel good and why the rest don't. So immediacy is kind of what I describe as like a good scene should most good scenes should have immediacy unless they are like intentionally filler scenes. So what I mean by this is you should have a thing that has happened, the current consequences, and the greater implication. So if people everybody saw like the most recent Ruby episode, the scene with Ren, the reason why that scene feels so good is because it's one of the few times in the series where it actually feels like there's a sense of immediacy because the previous events have happened. The fall of Haven, basically volumes 4 through 7. The consequence is that right now they're on the freezing cold. Oscar has been kidnapped, and all that stuff. And the greater implications is basically what Ren is saying, that maybe they're not ready to handle this. Of course, the good of this scene then deletes itself when they decide that Ren's actually just being a meanie pants. But that's what should make a good scene. Especially if you're writing something short, I think that's what really makes it good. So to have a scene with a sense of immediacy, you really need to dig into that there's an important event that's happened, the current consequence, and the greater implications to the story as a whole. That's kind of how you do like world building to an extent without like flat out explaining things to me.
she pretty much hit the nail on the head there. So like, I just realized that was actually a lot of spoilers for the episode that a lot of people haven't seen publicly. Oops.
Sorry.
Um,
it's what I need to do though.
I mean, honestly, the spoiler isn't really that bad, honestly, because it's just like we're telling you that there's a great character moment with Ren. It's very, very interesting. Nightblade, I am 27 years old.
Not that anyone asked, but I am 21.
Yeah, and I'm only getting younger.
By the way, look how big this blew up to like the past few minutes.
That looks delicious.
It will be delicious. See the oven preheat.
Okay. Well, I'm going to move on to the anonymous guy here on Twitter.
6 to 8 months.
Let me see. Open image in new tab, maybe. Oh, that helps it. That makes it work way better. I can just.
Which one are we up to?
We are on the anonymous guy.
All right.
Who's on Twitter?
This is the thing that he showed us last time.
Right. Okay. So.
This is like a gargantuan column. Oh my god. I don't know what to do with this. I probably should have split it into 2 loaves.
Bit off more than you could chew, huh? Okay, here we go. A Grim Introduction by A.L. Burton. Salem watches the airship plummeted from Atlas. Hazel joins her. Alright, first note. Tense confusion. Salem watched as the airship plummeted from Atlas. All past perfect tense? Is that right? Is that what the term is? Past perfect?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so.
Immediately followed by present tense.
I don't know that much I don't know that many writing words. I just say things.
Yeah, no, I'm trying to remember exactly how that functions. Basically, past perfect is, or present perfect, maybe. It's one of those tenses where it's basically you speak in the past tense, but you mean things are happening in immediacy. It's what I'm most comfortable writing in, honestly. But then you have present tense, which creates which can be mixed. Like, you can mix tenses, but it has to be done very, very carefully, and it's not being done here. You're just immediately like, Hazel joins her. I imagine Salem's just standing there, and she just turns and goes, "Oh, fuck!" Like, just, where did you come from? What's happening? Grimoire has returned. A few minutes After a few minutes, a cloud of black dust flies into the room, reconstituting into a woman wearing grim armor. She kneels. Salem approaches her. Welcome back, Grimoire. How did it go? Grimoire presented her bloody sword. Excellent. The next day. Oscar is somewhere in Mantle, sitting in a small outdoor restaurant when he looks up at the holoscreen as the evening news started. Good evening, Atlas and Mantle. The news anchor.
The holoscreen?
Holoscreen.
The holoscreen.
Oh, the hollow bread. Good evening, Atlas and Mantle.
That's what I want.
Comma. Lowercase t. The news anchor greeted. Period. I am Ann Wells. I'll be filling in for my colleague who was injured recently injured. Typo. Might want to excise one of these. For our story today.
It's like a common typo. Like don't worry too much about it. It's like a common typo where you kind of have a phrase where it can go either way, and your brain just kind of puts down both.
Yeah, or like you went back to edit and you thought you were fixing it, but you were just redoubling, that kind of thing.
Yeah. So it's not an egregious typo.
Yeah. For our first story today, Specialist Operative Winter Schnee. You don't need a semicolon there. You just Specialist Operative Winter Schnee is just one word.
That is her full name.
It's a full name in this case. Yeah, not one word. What I'm saying. Yes, please now do run on words. We'll just do that from now on.
Run on words.
Be like the Japanese. Don't have any spaces. Who needs those? God, that is the most painful thing about Japanese writing. Daughter of the accused conspirator and dust industrialist Jacques Schnee, an elder sibling to Weiss Schnee, who is currently wanted for interference with Atlas resources, has been placed under voluntary arrest as to ease tensions with the public who raised concern over her recent family history. Period. Anne shuffled a few papers as shown, trying to hide her need to take a breath. Why would she need to hide that? She's a newscaster. They breathe. They're human. Maybe just say Anne shuffled her papers and discreetly sucked in a breath. Something like that. Tragically struck in the tundra earlier yesterday morning when Clover Ebby was found murdered by former huntsman Crow Brandwin. Okay, it's tragedy struck, not tragically struck, but you know that's I can understand that mistake. Tragedy struck in the tundra early yesterday morning. Okay. Mr. Brandwin was found at the scene with the murder weapon, and after a short council investigation, he was executed publicly this morning, shortly before
they got public executions in Atlas.
Wow. Okay. General Ironwood had this to say. Let me image a new tab. First of all, I can't just say I'm feeling the edge on this story.
Can I say something too? I would use your space bar a little more often here. It's very blocky.
I mean the enter key.
Remember, you don't want to write like you're trying to keep the Huns out of China. Let me breathe.
Yeah. I mean, it's much better than last time. Well,
it is.
It's differently structured than last time, which I'll give it.
He probably like reduced it, you know.
Well, you know what because like the thing is, it's about the same amount of block text, but I think the distinction is that it's all dialogue. It's all the characters speaking, so it doesn't come off.
That's true. Yeah, you shouldn't need to space that out.
Yeah.
My bad. I took that back.
I mean, it's not a bad complaint. I usually try and like you can do tricks where you just give a paragraph where people are speaking. You can do that. It's kind of weird how it works because you hit the enter key, indent properly. Typically, a lot of word processors will do that automatically. But, like, you don't close the quote at the end of the first paragraph, and you start the quote again at the beginning of the second paragraph. It's really weird.
It is weird, but if you are... It might just be because of how he formatted it, like, in photos. But it does, again, you want to help the writing breathe. It's usually only used if it's like extremely long.
A picture of General Ironwood appears on over her shoulder. It was very unfortunate what happened today. I lost a once dear friend and now my trusted second in command. Crow admitted to assisting the known serial killer Tyrion Kalos in killing Aesop Clover Ebby. Not wanting to put families of the victims through a lengthy trial, the council decided to vote on an immediate sentence. The result was death. Jesus Christ.
Immediate sentence. I almost feel like what they were trying to do with Clover and Tyrion was like, you know, that one part of Steins Gate.
Which one? There's a lot of good parts of Steins Gate. I'm trying to think though.
Episode 23.
It's been a while since I've seen it.
When they go back into the past.
Yes. Where
I think that's what they were trying to do. Like, you know the scene I'm talking about, right?
Where he stabs.
Yeah, by accident.
No. I
might just be misremembering it because I saw Steins Gate a lot more recently than I saw Ruby Volume 7.
Yeah, it's also strictly better than Ruby Volume 7 in so many different ways.
Is that what they were trying to go for? Because, like, how does Clover die? He, like, gets stabbed by both of them?
No, he just gets stabbed through by Tyrion. Crow doesn't really do that. So I was kind of confused. It's more.
I have like two separate mental images in my mind. You know what I'm thinking of? I mixed together Adam's death with Clover's death.
Yeah. Maybe that make more sense. Maybe. Let's see, Tyrion Kalos.
Although Ruby tends to steal exclusively from Shonen, so I'd be impressed if they stole from Steins Gate.
I mean, they've been trying to steal. They specifically cited Gen Urabuchi's work for friggin' Genlock. So I don't know what they were stealing from in that particular circumstance. They could have been stealing from, Fate Zero. They could have been stealing from Madoka. They could have been stealing from what other work has Gen worked on? I feel like I'm missing one.
Why don't they try to steal from like Isaac and Guy and make something good?
Isaacin? Oh. Yeah, well, because they're not that smart. Well,
like here's the thing. So every Ruby character is a diet version of a Final Fantasy character. And the reason why Weiss is so good is because she's Diet Celeste, and like bad Celeste is still a good character.
What's Ruby?
So if you take what?
Which character is Ruby?
Yuffie.
No, I would peg
Yuffie by design. Somebody else by personality. I would actually say she might be more like Renoa, but like a bad Renoa.
God, I don't want to think about Renoa. All I can think about is how she's slight for sloppy seconds. Yeah, you get that mental image out of your mind now. Squall's picking up the leftovers. Oh God! If anyone knows what I'm referring to, Spoonie's review is hilarious of Final Fantasy VIII. It is an absolute goldmine. Have you ever watched Spoonie's Experiments reviews of Final Fantasy games?
Yeah, a couple of them.
They're some of my favorite content on the internet. No, God, I miss Spoonie. Right. Okay. So Anna's about to speak again when she gets cut off and touches her earpiece, listening closely. This just in: Winter Schnee has escaped from the Atlas Minimal Security, not sincerity facility she was being held at with the aid of an unknown accomplice. This is getting really weird. She willingly gives herself up, but then she breaks out of prison?
The long play.
A few hours ago, Winter ducked around the corner and hid from a couple of guards. She needed to get out of here and find her sister. She checked, capital S, she checked the hall comma, relieved to see it was clear. Period. As she snuck down the hall to the hangar, she noticed a shadow pass by. She readied herself for a fight and charged them. She seized the person and slunged into the wall. Or slung into the wall. What am I saying? Fucking brain.
Yeah, okay, slung, that's valid.
Yeah, that's valid. Slung them into the wall. My brain is I mean, there's a lot of bad here. I'm telling you that now. There's a lot of bad here that's messing with my brain, so we'll go over that shortly. Hey, watch the suit. I capitalized the W there. Roman shoved her away and began uncreasing his suit. Creasing is not spelled with a CH. Roman tortured. What are you doing here? You got a funny way of greeting people. I think you already know that. Our mutual friend thought you could help, so I got sprung. Good thing, too, if I'm guessing, right? You're going to find your sister, and a little birdie told me hers fell out of the sky last night. Winter sneered at Roman, sneered as Roman smirked.
Wait,
Look,
what? Hers fell out of the sky last night?
I'm guessing right. I say, good thing, too. If I'm guessing right, you are, not your, you need you apostrophe R-E, going to find your sister, and a little birdie told me hers fell out of the sky last night. I guess he's referring to the airship. Winter sneered as Roman smirked. Look, I don't like this either. You want to complain about it, then stay here and get arrested, or we can hop on that airship I just so happen to have keys for and get out of here. Your call, Snowbird. Roman stood there, twirling the keys on his fingers, waiting for her to answer.
Isn't Snowbird the ship name?
Maybe.
Chat, get on that.
So, I'm going to stop here because there's already so many issues to cover with this. It is an improvement. I'll say this. It is an improvement because you're not just block describing things, but you still have a ton of verb. Is it noun, verb, subject? Is that right?
Verb, subject, object. No, subject, verb, object. Excuse me.
Subject, verb, object.
Subject, verb, object. SVO.
Yeah. You still have a lot of that going on. Your pacing is all over the place. I get that you want to have a newscast to try and explain something, but typically, I really reflected on how I set up scenes, and when I do scenes, and this is a pretty deep technique, I try not to have one task scenes. I try very difficultly to have scenes that fulfill multiple purpose going forward. And it gets easier and easier as you have multiple characters in a scene because you can have a singular scene affect multiple characters and thus have that inform later scenes. But what I mean by that is just having a newscaster to tell us flatly that these things happened is very, very disengaging to a viewer because it's like, okay.
There's a reason so many action movies start with a news report. It's not good writing.
Yeah. Typically if you want to start with a news report, have someone watching the news report and have them reacting to it. That's the big thing is that if it's something in the environment, we should have a point of reference for which we relate to it. If I just see a random news report and it has nothing to do with me, I'm going to be only partially interested in it. I'm going to be a little bit invested. But if I see a news report about, something in my local area, something that's happening to someone I know.
Tiny wife is in a high-speed chase.
Yeah. And so, we don't have a frame of reference for who this is talking, who's the relevant person here? Are we thinking about Crow? Are we thinking about Ironwood? Are we thinking about Winter? Who are we supposed to be thinking about when we watch this when we hear about this news report?
Remember the concept of immediacy. What are the greater implications in the realm of the story, but also what are the current consequences of it?
Yeah. So
you're at the part where something has happened and you don't have the other two bits.
Yeah, so you're not. It is an improvement. You're getting better. It just needs. Definitely still need to refer yourself to some grammar and spelling, or vocabulary more like it. You're mixing up a lot of words in here, and as someone who mixes up a lot of words, that's saying something. Because
What do you mean? Have you heard me talk?
What?
It's like, have you heard me talk?
I mean, I was the one who was using erstwhile wrong.
Yeah, that's true.
So, like, to give you that example, it's just like that's you gotta be careful. All right, you gotta sit down. You gotta practice the basics. You can't just dive right into this. And this is before I even really touch on the topic of the story, which I think so far has been unengaging. I think it's a little try hard in its nature. It's less try hard than the last one, easily, because you don't suddenly have this character showing up and doing a blade dance around the bulkhead like that. But it certainly still comes off as this lady in grim armor that we've never seen before, that we've never encountered, that sort of thing. Like that comes off very poorly to many readers.
Devin Holmes says, "Are they trying to put Robin with Crow together in the show?" Oh, I sure hope not.
The two middle scenes are set up for what would be the later story revelations, while the first and last are kind of conjoined for a setup and payoff. In the payoff. I mean, I don't know, I'm not getting a lot out of these, honestly. I'm. You might say that, but it's not like. I don't know how to describe it. Admittedly, I haven't read this whole thing, and we're not going to because, again, we just need to move on. But it's like, oh, and now you have. I'm just looking at the next one, and you have freaking, eldritch chanting, Hakat idgag hella imorgan.
This is not a bully stream. We do not mean to pick on you.
We don't mean to pick on you, but it's. I'm just trying to tell you, man. It's not just not strong. It's actively bad, and you need to refine it more. You need again, still an improvement over what you had that was eye bleeding. Like you have passed a major hurdle in a lot of young writers' lives where. It's easier to actually look at the page. But
Serax, who I always enjoy comments from, says, an introduction should have three things: a character, a desire, and something that stops them from achieving that desire, which is a really good summary for you to keep in mind.
Yeah, admittedly, you can have any kind of start, but that's a very good shorthand for beginning writers. It's a great place to start. So with that in mind, I'm not really getting that. I'm not really getting that at all. I mean, like the closest example I can find to done well is, I covered this book on my channel. I actually read it. Was the, Resident Evil City of the Dead, where they open with news articles, and news articles are typically weak. But I found it very interesting because it built a lore for the city of Raccoon City itself. This is a book about the collapse of the city. And we get this massive snapshot into how that degradation happens. The city itself is a character in that way. And it's very interesting to see that grow over time, over the length of this chapter. So it's like, that's a very interesting and new way to take it. But this doesn't give me anything like that. So I hope that helps. I know it wasn't the best. Oh no, this is apocalyptic. Then who did I read first?
JJ the Merlin, maybe? Whatever that was.
Yeah, that might have been JJ. Oh, was that JJ? Redraft is. That was JJ. Oh, I am so sorry, JJ. Okay, that explains who you were. I was confused. I was so confused.
Oh, Jonathan Jackson. Okay, that was the name.
Yeah. Now we're on to Apocalyptic Chaos. All right. Told you, my brain's not in the right space today. I think the stream yesterday drained my brain. It's fine. It's okay. That happens. Do you want to take over for
We
Apocalyptic
have to
Chaos?
just, get over it.
All right, just for that, I'm making you read this next one.
Well, I don't have access to the document, so it's on you, buddy.
What do you mean you don't? I sent it to you.
I don't, but it's not shareable.
My freaking share. Yeah. Copy link. Done.
Man, I wonder if my gigantic 10-pound loaf has risen yet after uh, 8 minutes.
There you go. You now have the link.
Cool. I do have to say, I loaf talking with the chat.
See, the thing about loaf as a pun is it could be love but it can also be loathe.
Well, in this case, I mean love. I loathe Eddie Revis's writing.
I mean, hey, he did good with the last episode of Ruby. Somewhat. Like they haven't made Ren to be out a completely unredeemable character like they're trying to make Ironwood right now.
I haven't forgiven them for Ironwood. Anyway, this is Apocalyptic Chaos.
Yep.
Writing draft 1. Michael sipped the steaming tea. He always needed it when watches went long like this. Sitting buckled to the command chair, he swept his gaze across the bridge. To his right, Lieutenant O'Brien. That should be a period. To his right, comma. That's how you should break that up. Lieutenant O'Brien was hopping feverishly from task to task, coordinating the command center from the station. To his left, comma. That should be, again, period. To his left, comma. Sensor Chief Amara pored over readings looking for anything that looked vaguely hostile. Above him, comma, again, Weapons Officer Judas, to be capital J, sat, tense like a spring, ready to unleash megatons into the void, as casually as machine guns spat lead.
Here's a question: when you have a rank, does that get capitalized with your name?
It does. So if you said the lieutenant, that is not capitalized. But if you were saying Lieutenant Smith, Lieutenant, the L is capitalized.
So it should be Lieutenant O'Brien, Sensor Chief Amara, Weapons Officer Judas. Those should all be capitalized.
Yeah, the same way how, like, the word doctor isn't meant to be capitalized, but you always capitalize the D in doctor when it's a name.
Okay, just making sure that's clear. Like, because that's a rule that even I have always been sort of like, you could logically argue it either way, but it makes sense.
Yeah. Well, it's titles.
Yep.
Let's see. Does Tiny Weiss secretly pilot Mollie when she cooks, like in Ratatouille? Tiny Weiss is always secretly piloting me. I am simply the rat. Or she is the rat, and I am simply Linguini being pushed along through life. Anyway. Ahead and below the pilot monitor, the automated maneuvers. I don't know what that.
It's supposed to be maneuvers. Yeah.
Overseeing the codes, their implementation, and most importantly, any malfunctions in the navigation. Something that had become frustratingly common for the Age frigate. That shouldn't actually be a separate sentence. That should be common.
Yeah, that should have been a comma, definitely. I mean, also,
again,
like
the brain reads these and like kind of knows how it's supposed to be spaced out.
Also, after automated maneuvers, you need a comma as well. So ahead and below, the pilot monitored the automated maneuvers, oversaw the codes, their implementation, comma, and most importantly, any malfunctions in navigation. Then you would want a semicolon, something that had become frustratingly common for the aged frigate. Or maybe it would be colon. Would it be colon or semicolon, do you think?
That's a good question. I'm not super adept.
I think either could probably work on that. Probably. Hopefully. Okay, well, continue, please.
Something that had become frustratingly common for the H frigate. RCSS Hyacinth was a venerable old lady, emphasis on the old. A second-generation craft like her couldn't compete, not in sensor arrays, Delta V, or even plain old missile capacity. I don't know what Delta V is, but I assume that in like the greater context, it would make sense.
Yeah.
She was second rate, meant for patrolling and policing, keeping a presence among the belt, and making sure the mining, and making sure the mining crews remembered to pay their taxes. However, Michael drops his gaze back to the media picture on the computer leaf of their target, the EUSS newest toy. University of South Florida. The EUSC Ursa, that's the East, that is the electronic University of South Carolina. A modern warfighting destroyer built with cutting-edge systems, radar disputing surfaces, interference. Okay, stuff I can't understand.
Yeah.
Not to mention, she just had more weapons to boot. The first of a dozen new destroyers, the front line of the EUSF Strait constellations. And here she was bumming around the ass end of the asteroid belt.
So I'll say this. I like how you're not really holding our hands when it comes to the terminology. You're throwing around a lot of terms and a lot of technology and a lot of proper nouns and such, like the different frigate names and different locations. You're throwing those around.
Which is fine. It's just a lot at once.
Well, yeah, it's a lot at once. Like there is a pacing issue to it where you have to kind of like maybe wait a few pages before you throw out a couple of more big names like that. But so far, it's not holding our hands, but it's not losing us either. It's all pretty clear what's going on so far. There's a rundown old ship. It's basically just there as sort of a token presence in the system. It's not anything super new. That's what I mean. It's not anything super complicated in that sense. Like the actual situation is super simple, and everything else around it is complicated. If that makes any sense. Which is typically how you want to pair it. You either want a really complicated situation going on with very simple elements involved, or you want really complicated elements with a very simple situation involved. Like that's typically how you want to pair things. Keeps things. It allows the brain to connect to one so it can keep track of the other. Let me see if there's anything if we can skip around in this one a little bit.
We can skip to the second page where it's kind of like all the techie stuff is out of the way. Let's see. Delta V is the change in velocity that spacecraft can achieve by burning its entire fuel load. Okay. The way you wrote it there with like a lowercase d and a v makes me think of the derivative of velocity, which is acceleration. So that doesn't make much sense to me from like a physics standpoint, but I understand what you're getting at.
Yeah, no, that's cool stuff. I mean, like, I figured that was an actual space term. Does Tiny Weiss talk to ghosts? What? Of course she does.
Tiny Weiss can do a lot of things. She's actually on the U.S. Olympic basket weaving team.
Silver medal. Tapping the beeping button, the beeping icon, comma, Michael brought up the engineer's ruddy face. Chief Engineer and Nuclear Safety Officer McDowell. Michael brought up the engineer's ruddy face, period. Chief Engineer and Nuclear Safety Officer McDowell was clearly upset. McDowell, what's wrong? It's the engine cotton! He began in a noticeable yet understandable Scottish accent. Okay, kind of insulting? I mean, I understand.
Okay, so like, when you're writing accents, tone it down a little, please.
No, she knows. I go full hog with Scottish accents. That's always fun. She bashed me over the head to tone it the fuck down.
When we were writing the Pokemon thing once
with Clara and
I can't read this.
Well, that's the thing. When you're writing with accents, you can always. My way with accents is like anything else. Overdo it at first, then you can peel it back. yeah, you can usually reel it in some way, shape, or form.
The
So
nuclear core is producing enough vibrations to flatten Haiti. That's a little off color. A lot of people died.
yeah, eesh. Uh, we,
So there's this rule, comedy tragedy plus time equals comedy. I don't think it's been long enough.
I feel like it could work, but we need to establish this guy is irreverent to begin with. Like we need a clear establishment. This guy, I mean, maybe this is the establishment that he is. I mean, it could be character, is what I'm trying to say. It
You
could
guys should just write a thing together on the fly. That would be fun.
that'd be tempting. Maybe we'll do that next stream
Ooh.
and give everyone a break from writing for a little bit.
Yeah. When
Yeah. So, I mean, so far I'm not finding major issues with this. There's a lot of commas missing, commas and periods getting mixed up where they shouldn't be.
punctuation and also a little bit of, but it's paced fine.
Yeah. So far it's pretty well. You probably shouldn't abbreviate NTR. People will think that's something wrong. Just saying. Turn the NTRs off. Oh, I'm sorry, man. Those people are thirsty as fuck. I mean, that's literally by design. They are thirsty as fuck. They like watching people. So yeah, it's brush up on your commas is what I'm going to ask you to do. Brush up on your commas. Try and pace out the technobabble a little bit better. But other than that, it's all right. I'm kind of intrigued. You've got me to some degree.
Was this sent to us before, or is this new?
This is new. This is new.
The last line is "Sir, they've launched a missile at us," which is cool, but capitalize S, comma, and that's the first line, and put a period.
Even better, have another dialogue line over it, like, "Well, fuck."
Yeah. There's actually something I wanted to mention about the period inside the quotation marks. I might be wrong about this, but I have heard that in British English you put it outside.
Really? Do we have any Brits in chat? Okay, let me just pull up Anime AK. Copy link. Because for some reason we don't have that pinned. I was terrible with pinning this week, so we didn't have quite everything right. Chat, let's write together one word at a time. I'll start. Oh, that's going to go well, Victor.
Uh-oh. I
mean, with everything we've seen, good luck getting the punctuation right. Okay, so there's Anime AKs. Time to scroll all the way down to the bottom. Find the newest one.
Yeah.
So is it number 2? That anime guy or anime podcast anime. I don't know which name. There's a lot of guys with anime in their name in this chat sometimes. Anime as art. Anime.
Hold on. I found it. Yes. In the UK, it's in the outside.
Interesting.
But if you're going to do so, be consistent. Be consistent is the big thing.
Yeah. All right, so here we go. Number 2, which I believe is a rewrite of his second one. I don't remember what it's called or if anything, but let's see. Mantle Atlas. This is not a drill. I repeat, this is not a drill. The intercom speakers rang as the air raid sirens signaled everyone to get to the battle stations on the barracks near the drop pod. Okay. Hard stop. That is a run-on sentence if I've ever seen one. The intercom speakers rang as the air raid sirens signaled everyone to get to battle stations on the barracks near the drop pod launch bay of the school.
I heard they use those to pull people out of the water.
Yeah, you need some commas in there. So, like, let's see. The intercom speakers rang in. You could just get rid of the intercom speakers. We kind of understand it's an intercom when you intercut the air raid siren signaled. Also, attributing what the thing is supposed to be telling people when there's a siren going off, and you immediately spell out exactly what the siren is for, you kind of lose a human element of it. You could easily have this from a human perspective of someone going like, oh, there's a siren going off. Which siren is it? Is it this one? No. Is it a test? No. Oh, it's this one and it's not a test. Oh, crap. And like kind of working through that. You could have that element come in there instead of just flat out telling us everyone get to battle stations. It's also weird to attribute like motive to the air raid sirens. Sort of like they signaled everyone to get to battle stations. It's probably easier to write everyone's. You're also not defining you're opening without defining everyone. You're just opening with everyone. Like, okay,
it's
I
like
guess.
Magic School Bus.
Like I guess.
Where it's like.
What? Say again.
It's like in Magic School Bus when they say everyone, it's just kind of like the collective of the class, and the narrator is just someone there.
Yeah, but like we understand visually because we can see the class. We can when they say, "All right, everyone," like we have a reference point. We have no reference point for this. We just thought, "Oh, there's an air raid siren and everyone. I guess the entire planet's up in arms." I mean, who are you referring to? Like for all we know, maybe this is some kind of civilian militia. Maybe like there's a trained civilian militia. For all I know, it's not just some military base. It might seem small. But you can trigger these things by just using imprecise wording. And it's much easier to say the militia scrambled or the military scrambled. And all at the same time, it's a very flat statement. It's just sort of like everyone did this. It's subject, verb, object. It's not gripping. It's immediately just killing it. But let's move on from that. There's a lot going on in that sentence, but let's move on from that for now. I grabbed my helmet and put it on, leaving my rifle on my back. All right, we're good. That's a pretty decent sentence. My squad met up and we sprinted to the pod launching bay, only for General Ironwood to be standing by waiting on someone. Is standing by one word? It's one of those weird ones because like
no, standby is one word.
Standby is one word, but he is standing by. It's just weird to me that it should be one word because it's sort of like passersby. Where you
no, that's only as a noun. General Ironwood is standing by, so it's two words.
True. Okay. But regardless, you need that last sentence. You need a comma after it, and then lowercase only for general. So, only for General Ironwood to be standing by, comma waiting on someone. I gave a salute and got one in return. Captain Frederick. General Ironwood, come with me for your briefing. I have a task for you, he said. What about Mantle's defenses? They need reinforcements to help with civilian evac. He gave me a look of apathy. Something I have never seen before on his face in all my many years. It's probably just smoother to say in my many years being under his command. Probably just smoother to say it there. The specialists are taking care of whatever civilians we can, but all forces are pulling out as soon as your mission is complete, Captain. He replied. I nodded as my men followed him to a holomap showing the map of Mantle. Sir, what's the op? An important asset has escaped from our grasp, and we must get it back at all costs. The Holo map, not Halo. This is we're not entering the Halo franchise. The Holo map then zoomed in on a local diner called Club Herrera. The bodies were moving as if it were being played in real time.
Mupa said, curious that the general saluted him back. Curious he isn't required to do that. It's considered common courtesy.
Yeah.
That you salute someone, they salute you back. The only time you're not supposed to salute really is indoors.
Or on the battlefield.
Yeah.
That which everyone should know why you do not salute someone on the battlefield.
Everybody's saluting that guy. I wonder if he's important.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I gave salute? Did he say I gave salute, not gave a salute? I gave... No, it should have been I saluted. I think I've been probably smoother for that. I mean, there's issues here. This is janky. It's not... I don't know... I mean, there's a lot of here that we've already reiterated with a lot of this. I don't know. At any point sticking out to you that we haven't already covered?
No, it's just kind of not well written. Like, it's just kind of clunky. So like, it's just the general style of it, I guess. Again, we're not trying to be rude.
Like to give an example is, I know nothing about how this guy feels about his squad, and he's running to them running. He meets up with them. My squad met up, and we sprinted to the pod launching bay. That feels really hollow to me. Like, does he not know his own squad mates? Does he not, like, where were they? What were they doing? I mean, they're not necessarily answers you need to answer, but it's sort of like, this all feels like the I guess this could be the middle point of a story, but it feels like the beginning of a story. So it's sort of like, I don't know. It feels very impersonal, if that makes any sense. Is that right?
Yeah, even though it's first person, it like doesn't feel like that, because like when you are a human, which I'm sure you could all relate to, and you are experiencing a thing which you could also all relate to, your thoughts are not like, I did this, I did that, that guy was over there. You have like a mix of emotions going on and different thoughts. So you have to kind of put that on paper.
Yeah, so if I were to like quickly run through how I would have done this scene, like, this is not a drill, I repeat, this is not a drill. The intercoms were ringing in my ear, prompting me to go faster and faster down the hallway, desperate to get where I needed to be. Hitting the armory, slamming through the armory door with my shoulder first. I quickly scrambled to my locker, opened it up, grabbed my helmet, my rifle, slung them over my shoulder, and sprinted out the door. Sprinted right back out the same door I had just come through, something like that. Jimmy ran past me, the same look of shock on my face mirrored in his, and it was only a matter of seconds as he rushed through the doors I just come through, before he'd gone into the doors I just come through and then come back out carrying his own equipment. We nodded to each other and immediately sprinted in tandem down the hallway once more. Something like that. Like this is all happening in the immediacy. There's an alert going on. I should be like, oh shit, what the hell's going on? Oh god, oh panic. And then like when Ironwood shows up, he's like, we reached the pod just in time. Jesse linking up with us as we passed the mess hall. My motion came to a sudden stop as I was surprised to see the hulking frame, not the hulking, the stone wall frame of General Ironwood, clear as day, silhouetted against my drop pod. Reading the confusion on our faces, he immediately well, they're indoors, so they wouldn't need a salute. So they don't need to salute. No. The general immediately launched into an explanation or something like that. Like you can sharpen it up super fast. See, if it's all right after this read, I super chat a prediction idea I want your opinion on.
You can super chat all you want.
Yeah, super chat, preferably Streamlabs, which you can. The link is right there on the screen, and it's in the description down below. You can Streamlabs, and it will send less money to the corporate overlords at YouTube and more money to me.
And none to me.
I meant, yeah, sorry.
It's okay, I don't care. But I do like making that joke.
Uh, but yes, it's Daniel put it right. It's a skeleton with no meat. It's like it's more like the bullet points of a story than it is a story itself. Like the point it gets interesting is when you introduce the dialogue, because you're forced to have character with that. Like so that's what you want, is you want for it to be kind of seamless in a way between the dialogue and the description. So with all that said, let's move on to our final one. I believe this is the one you would like to read.
Yes,
Frontier.
is it Frontiers?
It's Frontiers.
Yeah, so Frontier, we just, last week we were like, you always write stuff that's so dark. How about you try writing something that's just, like, cute? So we asked him to write about the baby hippo at the Cincinnati Zoo.
Fiona.
Fiona. The love of my life.
She is wonderful.
She's so cute.
Okay, well, let's get to it.
Fiona was having the best day ever. The sun was shining, the air was sweet, and the water was just perfect temperature for swimming. Not that Fiona found any temperature not perfect for swimming. She'd happily go swimming in the water whether it was ice cold or piping hot. Today, the temperature was just extra perfect. So eager was Fiona to get outside that Auntie Bibi had to remind her to finish her breakfast first. She had been a hippo on a mission, practically inhaling the food before speeding off into the cove with all the speed her little legs could muster. It wasn't far, but it still felt like it took ages before she finally reached the shore. The first splash made it more than worth it. Time seemed to fade away as Fiona had a whale of a time splashing about. Sometimes she would lazily drift in the same place, watching the bubbles float to the surface and flicking her ears in glee. Other times she would sprint into the water from the shore and noisily splash around. Some days she would see how long she could stay down there, but the young hippo was too energized for that today. Instead, she bounded her way through the pool, leaping up and sinking back down to the bottom. She could only do this so many times before she reached the other end, of course, because that just meant she got to climb out into the warm sun. That was good for a bit, but eager to be back in the water, Fiona would soon be sprinting back around to where she had started. Then she did challenge herself with putting an extra spring in her step, trying to make it faster each time. She had no way of knowing if she succeeded on each attempt, but that just meant she got to do it over again. Fiona didn't mind it at all. Again and again she ran the loop, so engrossed that she didn't even notice the humans watching her to the fourth go-round. They stood on the other side of the clear stone, waving and pointing their weird feet at her. There were a lot of them here today. They flocked closer as Fiona bunted against the wall, opening her mouth in greeting and asking if they wanted to play. Though they opened their mouths in reply, none of them would ever come to the cove. They couldn't, as Auntie Bibi had told her. While the humans were friends, they just weren't as big as hippos. Even one so young as Fiona might hurt them by accident. She didn't want that, now did she? Fiona indeed didn't want that, but she still felt bad for them. They didn't get to splash around in the pool or race around the loop in the warm sun. The thought of not being able to do either of those things at all was the saddest thing Fiona could imagine. As she drifted in the front of the clear stone, Fiona spotted one of the little humans acting differently from the others. Rather than bunch forward, they instead tried to stay hidden in the back. They were scared of Fiona, and that upset her greatly, even as Auntie Bibi's words echoed in her head. No matter how big either of them were, she wanted this little human to know that they could be friends. And she had the perfect idea how to show her. Fiona began bunting her head against the clear stone to get everyone's attention. Once she had it, most importantly that of the scared little one, Fiona swam back to the edge of the pool. Breaking the surface for a big breath, Fiona turned and began bounding her way along the surface, just as before. This time, though, Fiona pulled her legs in tight and twisted her body just as Auntie Bibi had showed her. It sent her spinning through the water in a spray of foam and bubbles. She managed 2 full rotations before she needed to surface. Not her best, but still good. Her second try was better, making 3 complete rotations before she ran out of water and had to turn around. She did one more roll on the way back, a lazy one as she drifted back to where the humans gathered. They all looked overjoyed at the display. But Fiona saw only the scared little one, except they weren't scared anymore. They come out of hiding and stood among the others, smiling along with them in utter delight. Everyone was happy to be there, even if they couldn't come inside to play. Fiona supposed that was just as good.
God damn, you are talented. That is so wholesome. That is so incredibly wholesome.
Serax is like, if this doesn't turn horribly dark at the end, I'm disappointed.
Well, be disappointed. Just wholesome goodness. Absolutely great. Oh man. That's great. And like this goes back. Remember that Raichu one we read?
Yeah.
This reminded me of that because this is an animal referring to humans as humans. But it didn't get overwhelming with it. You know, it wasn't the human, all that kind of such. It was, you know, like I guess there was this scared little one. It was like little one, that kind of thing. My favorite line was obviously their strange feet.
Yeah.
Which I think is just a great little reference. It's absolutely great writing. The only weird part was like this she did challenge herself with. That was a little weird. I don't know how to describe other than that, but like other than that was just great work. Absolutely great work.
And it's about hippos.
Yeah. I wanted to include the male hippo, but I couldn't figure out how. It's all right. This worked.
I believe he's deceased, sadly.
The male hippo?
Yeah, he passed away a few years ago.
Oh, I didn't know that. Now, without making it much longer, yeah, I can understand that. Yeah, keep it nice and short. Overall, though, great work. Now,
so one of my friends just messaged me. He goes, "My mind is on Weiss, who previously abandoned her brother to be with their drunken mother and abusive father, only to return and get the father arrested. Then to tell the brother, who has largely been alone in this shit household, go to your room."
Weiss is a bad sister so far.
Weiss is not a good sister.
I was waiting for a whole time for a kid to fall into the enclosure. No, Abe. Bad Abe. Don't make me get the spray bottle out. We don't need a repeat of what happened at the Cincinnati Zoo, all right? We don't need that. Oh.
It's like a random cat video in text form, just not my type of entertainment. Look, we needed to challenge Will somehow.
Yeah, like this was a challenge in just like, could it be wholesome? Can you be wholesome? Bad grammar probably should. Yeah, I mean you could have trimmed it, but you know, overall, one mistake in a 4-page draft. That's not bad. Not bad.
Yeah, wholesome can be good. Wholesome can be fun. What should we write next week when we're doing our little like stream?
That is a good question. If we're going to be writing on stream and giving you all a break, what should we write?
It has to be a series we both know.
Yes. I mean, I get the feeling we're going to get Ruby requests.
Yeah, what's going to get Ruby? But we have to be a little more specific than that.
Yeah. Like I generally don't... I would rather have it be a more serious... Not serious, but like grounded tone. I don't want it to be like something memey. I'd rather not... Yeah, make sure it's not something memey, guys. How's this? No, because that would get... I was going to say, like, oh, everyone can submit different ones over our week, but no, I feel like that would be overwhelming. That would literally overwhelm our inboxes, because it's not like everyone's writing up a draft. Give us a prompt, guys.
Yeah, while we're still in chat and while I get this bread. Let's get this bread! Let's give it another minute, and then we'll get this bread.
Well, chat is just taking forever to update. Come on, guys. Come on.
Yeah.
Oh. Ruby Prelude, I have one. Stories you like to write, characters and plot. What kind of stories do you like to write, characters and plot, typically?
Me?
Yeah.
I'm 100% character study. Like, that's my favorite thing.
I like to write a distinct character going through something. It's not so much as a character study. Like, I like the event itself too. Beacon Staff Christmas Party. There's potential there. Maybe challenge to write something with exceptionally unusual metaphors and phrases? I don't know, lol. Or Salem's Minion Christmas Party, I guess. Male hippo dies of disease. Get out of here, Romulus. No. We're not writing that.
We are not writing anything bad about hippos.
And the whole Christmas party thing, that's more of a meme type deal. Oh, anime is art. A prediction. We all know Amity launches messages gets sent. Request reinforcements. Only option is Cordovan. Consequence. Argus is abandoned. Your thoughts? Possibly? But that's dependent upon Amity succeeding. Now, I'm thinking a lot of shit's going to get destroyed in the end. How about you pick your top 5 stories? It can work. Rewrite episode 1, especially with how the air defenses should be. Ruby makes a weapon for John, or at least fix up Corsair Moors. Okay, there's the first premise that really got me so far. Ruby makes a weapon for John, fixing up like, or like basically fixing up Corsair Moors. Maybe. How either Yang or Ruby unlocked their aura or semblance. Ooh, that could be fun. Like, think about it. Trauma unlocks semblances, right?
Yes.
So how did Yang unlock her semblance? How did Ruby unlock her semblance?
How did Yang figure out her semblance?
Yeah, that could be fun.
Because that's something you have no idea exists unless you get her.
Let's see. We already rewrote the opening to V5, the V8 anime guy. In honor of the Doe stream, remnant version of Gingerbread Man story. Maybe. The Vital Festival after the Great War? Or the first Vital Festival after the Great War. That's a little intensive. That'd probably be a little intensive. Why is Salem even sending Grim the mantle? Shouldn't she be saving her forces for Atlas? I mean, killing people is killing people. Why not? Not like the Grim have any limit to them as far as we're understanding it. Well, that gives me an idea. What about character dynamics? Like how they relate to one another? Let's do a character dynamic thing.
I mean, that's severely lacking in the show.
Didn't we get a trailer that was Yang unlocking it? No, that was not her unlocking it. That was just her using it. Which is kind of what's stupid about it.
The Ruby trailer being pointless? No.
So I'm gonna get a notepad open.
I'm struggling.
So Yang unlocked.
I check the bottom of my bread to see if it's done, but this thing is like. Look at this.
Semblance. Yang unlocked semblance. Ruby unlocked semblance. Oh, well, I got one. What if Ruby and Yang had an older brother and he had no choice but to leave them, but they don't want him to leave? So you don't need to add characters. We already have enough problems with the characters that have already been established. You don't need to keep adding characters to the mix. Any given Ruby scene. Any given Ruby scenes from the perspective of a civilian. Ooh, I like that one.
That's a good one.
The fall of
That's
Beacon.
We can add characters and not make it weird.
Beacon, tragic moment from civilian view in Ruby. Okay. This is very. Let's see. This is very niche, but I could see you guys writing a story about someone traveling alone and meeting someone new for the first time. Might just because I've been watching The Mandalorian a lot. I do like the lone gunslinger, like, wandering around the place. I love that trope. That's a great trope.
I mean, who doesn't love a good Western?
Apparently, the world viewing audience between 1980 and 2010.
Okay, that's fair. Wasn't Django Unchained really popular?
Yeah, but that was after 2010, I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. See, are any of the trailers not? Let's see. If you choose the R Semblance one, chat should also do it and compare notes. Ruby walks in on Raven. No, we're not writing. We're not okay. Hardline. We're not writing smut. All right. Just
I don't know how.
like no. I know how. It's just I don't want to write it on stream. Maybe in the future we could do an R-rated stream. That would be interesting, but not now.
Please no, I'm trying to get into the military.
Maybe I'll be one stream without you. We'll see. I'll get like I'll get someone else who's like horny on main on. I want to know how Raven figured out her semblance. That one's a little less interesting, I think. How Ruby got her dog. Them getting Zwei, that could be cute. Let's see. Bruh, you near gave me PTSD of abused and neglected male reader from that Ruby fanfic. Oh god, yeah.
Which fanfic?
There's a joke that goes around of abused and neglected male reader self-insert. It's like a parody, I think, if I understand it correctly. So like that the whole brother thing.
Is that why there's all those John Harem fics?
Basically, yes.
Like hundreds of thousands of hits.
Salem exploring the world after humans came back, being the only mage like a cowboy but with magic. Wandering witch Salem. It's not a bad idea. Witch Salem.
Atlas should have pipes of sleeping gas everywhere to knock out citizens during grim attacks. You know, that's actually a good idea. I mean, like, how else do you prevent the negative emotions?
I know how, but Celtic, the views. I know, but also the demonetization. It's kind of an offset to that. Wait, isn't Salem just wandering around with magic? Isn't that just Nomad of Nowhere? Not even comedic smut? Oh god, I banged Cinder, panic moment. I mean, like, you can do... There's a difference between smut and, like... What's the writing equivalent of ecchi? Is it... Lemon is full smut. Is it lime? That's it, lime. There's lime, and I'm actually much more comfortable with lime, but no, we're not gonna edge near there quite yet.
Edge.
Oh, come on. An anthology about characters discovering semblances would be fun. Actually, a semblance anthology. That's not a bad idea either. It's something we could come back to. Bread. You're making me hungry. Maybe a story within a story where Yang would write about her experiences and pain around losing her arm. Probably thought of this idea because I'm playing Cry of Fear. What's Cry of Fear? Cry of Fear. Is that what I'm thinking of?
How the military should react to an invasion?
Oh yeah, Cry of Fear, that Gmod horror game that I didn't like. Let's see. How about this? Have Atlas Marine patrol the walls, but go into how the military should react to grim invasion. That actually would be funny if we just had a super competent military in Ruby.
Like there's not even a point having hunters.
Basically.
Anyway, so if you guys have ever wanted to see a gargantuanly sized Paula, this is what it looks like.
That looks amazing, Molly. That's like storefront stuff. Holy shit.
I like to make.
It's
like falling apart because it just can't support its own weight.
The Hound scene from the new volume from the Hound's perspective. I don't find Grimm very interesting as characters necessarily. This is a Christian channel. I mean, not technically, but sort of technically. Salem has to inhabit Emerald's body like Osmond does with Oscar. anime is art. Why would you even suggest that? Why?
Calling the police.
I just. All right, I think we're good on. We have 5 solid suggestions right now. Let's. I mean, technically 4, but one is ties into the other 2. So let's cut it off there, and I'll put it to a vote online on Twitter. I'll go to Twitter. I'll put it to a vote. We'll have Yang unlocks Resemblance, Ruby unlocks Resemblance, the Fall of Beacon or / a tragic moment from a civilian point of view, and the Wandering Witch Salem. I'll put it up at a vote for the next week. You guys can vote on it, and by Thursday night, me and Molly will know what we're writing on next Friday. Or we'll see. Possibly, we'll probably be having the artist stream sometime next week. It's looking like that might be Friday. So me and Molly will have to
We'll work it out.
Coordinate on things. So, yes.
Oh my god, perfect.
So yes, let's call that there. Thank you all.
In an oven, it gets hot. Hold on. I just need to show it off. I need to show off the inside.
Oh. Oh God, Molly, you're making me hungry as hell. It's evil. All right. Remember that for $1 or more, you can join me on my Patreon. You can join me, Fatman Fulling, and Dashi Lee, among other big faces, in the Tundra, the Team Frostbite Discord server. And sometimes Molly will pop in if she's feeling up to it. She's currently out of it for school reasons to kind of focus on things.
Yeah.
So you can join there and regularly interact with Team Frostbite and all of our lovely fans, and ask us one question during our reactions to the newest Ruby episodes. And with that said,